Hey, my name's Josh. I've built and exited 4 different companies. Now, listen, I'm not a billionaire, although in Zimbabwe money, I might be a billionaire. Or maybe Venezuelan. What's the name of their currency? Anyway, that doesn't matter, but I have coached and worked with over 1,000 business owners over the last decade. When I say coached, I mean one-to-one, knees-to-knees, toes-to-toes, nose-to-nose, helping husbands and wives, entrepreneur families make more money, seeing the obvious, having breakthroughs, understanding systems and processes and methodologies and all the stuff that make a business successful. And really, at the end of the day, I've become a professional dot connector. Do you want to know who the most frustrating type of business owner is for someone like me to work with and coach and help? I've had people pay me up to $100,000 just for my advice, and it's worth it because of the millions of dollars that they make because of that advice. But the most frustrating people I work with are Christian entrepreneurs. Now, as a Christian myself who believes that, every watch has a watchmaker and there is a creator God of the universe, and that creator God is the God of the Bible, but I digress. I'm just saying Christians are the worst for a couple reasons. Number one, they put a Christian bumper sticker on their car and they somehow think that that makes them more competitive in the marketplace and that they somehow get spiritual brownie points and that they don't actually have to be better at their product or service and that they're somehow magically supposed to be financially successful. Let me tell you a secret, Mr. or Mrs. Christian entrepreneur. God won't do your part and you can't do God's part. One of the best-selling home decor items from Hobby Lobby is this big plaque that goes on your wall, and it says this little cute verse. Maybe you've seen it. It says, "Commit your plans to the Lord, and He will establish them." And in this video, I'm going to give you the 3-step formula for guaranteed success written by God Himself in the Bible that works 100% of the time. It'll change your life for the rest of your life. Are you ready? You want to know what it is? Okay, here we go. So back to this plaque. Commit your plans to the Lord, and He will establish them. It's one of these things that gives you warm, fuzzy vibes. It makes you feel good about yourself. Your mother-in-law comes over, you look at the plaque, she's like, "Oh, you're such a good Christian boy. You have this plaque on your wall." Here's the thing. Did you realize there's a 3-step formula? Did you realize that the first 2 steps, God doesn't even get involved, but the third one, He comes in and establishes it for you? Let's talk about it. Step 1 is you have to commit. What does it mean as a business owner and entrepreneur to commit? What does it mean to commit to anything in any area of our life? You see, a lot of people, specifically Christians, they want to pray about things for 10 years, but they don't want to do things. I heard a parable one time. It said 2 farmers pray for rain, but only one of them put seed in the ground. Which one had more faith? Did you put seed in the ground? Are you praying for rain but not putting seed in the ground? Stop it. Stop it. I'm going to come find you. Listen, commitment is running as fast as you can into the darkness with no expectation as to how long that's going to take. Real commitment is not the same thing as trying something. You don't try to start a business. You do it or you don't do it. You burn the boats. You burn the bridge. You go for it. You see, when you're truly all in on something, that's what sets the stage for God to start getting involved. God will not let you down. He will not abandon you. But most people are not truly committed to anything, or they're committed for a week, or they're committed for a month, or they're committed for a year. Here's the deal. You're not supposed to know how long you have to be committed for. You're supposed to run into the darkness as fast as you can in perpetuity with no expectation as to when that's supposed to stop. Now, I'm not saying it should take forever, but what I am saying is the mindset and the mentalidad you need to have to be successful if you want to implement this formula into your life is you have to be willing to adopt that mindset and run. Step number 2, you have to have a plan. Well, Josh, I have a plan. No, you don't. You don't have a real plan. Do you have a real plan? Think about this. If you want to have a small business, that means that you have the earning potential of a professional athlete. Do you understand how much planning and strategy and thought goes into just winning one football game at the professional level? It's a lot, okay? It's a lot. They have like 100 people on staff. They have analysts and statisticians, and they have all these people. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it at that level, but I'm making a point. If you're going to start a small business and you want to have the potential to have an income like a professional athlete, and you think that your little plan means that you Googled something and printed a 2-page business plan document off, you are sadly mistaken, my friend. You need to treat this as if your life depended on it. You need to treat it as if God is going to get involved in it. Like I said before, God won't do your part and you can't do His part. He expects you to do your very, very best. So do you have to have a perfect plan? Absolutely not. You could have a plan with a crayon on construction paper, but if it's the best you got, this formula will still work. But if you're kind of sort of doing it and you're dipping your toe in the water, you put your Christian bumper sticker on your car, let me tell you something, it ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna unlock and unleash the power of this promise from Scripture. So you gotta have a plan. It has to be a real plan. You have to count the cost before you build the house. You have to understand the economics the best that you can before you start. You have to measure and iterate and optimize and update your plan. You should be sleeping with your plan. You should lay your plan on your pillow and you should talk to it and cuddle it, okay? Because you're running into the darkness. You're doing hard things. You're doing things that make you uncomfortable. You're exercising boldness. You're exercising faith and courage, which means you're doing hard things while you're still scared and you want to throw up sometimes. That's just evidence that you're actually doing it correctly, by the way. And then you have your little plan next to you and you're updating it and you're tweaking it and you're learning it and you're studying it and you're becoming a master of what it is you're trying to do, the value you're trying to provide, who your perfect customer is, how you can deliver your program or service or product to them, how you can exceed their expectations, how you can make the whole customer experience, the customer lifecycle amazing. This is where your head needs to be. Now, step number 3 is the best part, but most people never get there because they're not truly committed in the first place. They don't have a plan, or if they do, they don't stick with it, update it, optimize it, iterate it. They're lazy with it. You do not deserve to be successful. You have to earn what you get. You get to eat what you kill. If you've done the first 2 parts, okay, you should be very excited because God is going to show off with you. He's going to come up and establish it. Now, think of establishing it like this. Imagine you're walking and you walk up to the edge of a cliff, okay? And you're about to take a step over the cliff and you will die. But guess what? Because you're following God's protocol here, and we're not talking about real death, we're talking about financial or business death. As you step out, all of a sudden there's a little stone placed under your foot, right? And then there's another stone placed under your foot. This is God establishing it. Things that don't even make logical sense, connections that don't make logical sense, opportunities and doors in the floodgates of heaven can be open for you that don't make logical sense because you've done your part, and that means God now gets to do his part. A lot of y'all are sitting around praying for 10 years on if you should expand the business. A lot of y'all are sitting around for 10 years praying on if you should even start the business. But here's the truth. You have permission to move about the cabin. You don't have to sit there and be Mr. Hyper Spiritual all day. And if you're one of these people watching this video saying, money isn't everything, Josh, then how dare you? Because I can tell you something. Poverty is not piety, and wealth is not wickedness. And most people that criticize people that try to better themselves, that try to become job creators and movement makers and world changers, the criticizers, okay? Because by the way, criticism is the native tongue of the uninspired. Thanks, Joseph Z, for that quote. But here's the thing. The criticizers really are criticizing to mask their own cowardice, to not take responsible for their own failures. The Bible that I have says that wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and that someone that doesn't provide for their family is worse than an unbeliever. So get over it, take responsibility, dust your little self off, put your big boy pants and your big girl panties on, and get to work. I'll see you in the next video.